signature did you use? I just have a quick question. Sure. I'm just kind of a beginner. Yeah. And I got a Yamaha tenor sax. Yeah. 62. I've got a couple of mouthpieces. I've got it's called Sios. It's out of France. I've got a couple of those. I've got a Guinness sax called Guinness sax. And I'm wondering if would be a good option. Perfect world. You have those mouthpieces, you play, and I will hear what's going on and see what I think is going on for you. A lot of times I've had a beginner play this mouthpiece. It might be Is the opening like a or something? That's right. Okay. And how much are these? 79. Yeah. Okay. And they're running a sale today. Oh, today? Yeah. Is that the sale price? No, I don't think that's Are you going to go over some of the products? Yes. Give that a try. Okay, I think you're next.
It was just a little too bright.
Okay, try my DVJC, which is my model. Let's see.
Why everyone stop playing?
Let's try it. It's like the same thing, but a little less bright.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just try the super jet?
Yeah. What string 3 do you have? You can try it with that, but
I use beats for my
that's what I have. Yeah, try it. It's just, and like I said, you can try that reed, but I'd like you to see what it's like with a softer
So I use a
it's 219. And I bought the show mouthpieces recently, and I kind of redesigned this mouthpiece, and it's 165. So that's the JDX6, and this is the HR Star 5. And they're going to sale tonight if you want to get one. Okay. You'll have to talk to the salespeople. So you remember which, you think you know which one you want? Okay. So let them know, and then I have to look. I don't, you know, I do have in stock. If they don't, okay? All right. Good.
Anything else you'd recommend trying?
Like a little more kind of deluxe and high performance facing curve. Try this one. Special formula rubber. So this is a unique formula rubber, and we only have it. It's $350. Yes. Now
when it comes to saxophones, I guess on the newer side, do you have any recommendations on mouthpieces, like tip sizes and stuff like that?
I don't think your reed is, if you're not having a good time on that, then let's change the reed, okay?
Okay.
Is it still kind of hard on the bottom?
Yeah, so it's hard to play the super low notes on the very, and then it's kind of harder to play super higher notes.
Okay. Try the same mouthpiece and just see how this reed plays with it, okay?
Okay.
Hey guys, if you have a mouthpiece, I think I need to get them in now because we're about to start the show, and then we can start fresh right after I do my clinic. Whoops.
Do I need to swab it or anything?
I'll do it. Did it kind of quick.
It might just be the tip opening. Well, I kind of just wanted to try it for fun.
You didn't try my reed, I'm telling you. Trust me. Okay.
I plan on a plan.
Really?
I plan on DVA uses. They're good reads.
Harder is not better than this thing. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
How is the 8-star?
Tons better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you get a chance to try it? All right. Come get it first thing.
All right,
Okay. Okay. Did you get to try it at all?
No.
Okay.
Not with the new read.
Come back and try it. All right.
Trying to convince him about things, but you don't.
He needs a new mouthpiece because he's playing in jazz band and he's playing a mouthpiece. It's like putting a sock in a horn.
Right.
Just gotta convince my husband.
Yes, later, because we're about to start. Did it make a big difference in sound?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I was like, oh, this.
That's all we're talking about.
But because we just bought this.
Oh, dude, I hate when that happens.
I definitely need a new mouthpiece. Yeah. It's a Yamaha something or other.
I would say that's part of it, but like mostly, actually, you know what? I think it has come from. I think you're.
Oh. Hey guys, just to let you know, you've already won the record of the most mouthpieces tried before the event. So that's pretty cool. I wish I had one of my kids here. They clean mouthpieces for me. We're going to start about 5 after, okay? Does anybody have any questions beforehand? Everybody on? Yeah.
What made you want to start making saxophone mouthpieces?
I did a TED Talk, and it's called Creative Confidence, and the whole story is there. And it's not that I wanted to start making mouthpieces, it's that I got on this track of kind of self-improvement, I guess you could call it. But I started being creative in every aspect of my life, and I started thinking about what did I really want to do in life? Like big dreams, big things. And then when I thought about that, and I was just kind of going with this energy flow like I had never done before. It was basically, I had been doing this book called The Artist's Way, which is made for blocked writers. And so you do all these exercises for 12 weeks, and writing and all these things to boost your creativity in every aspect. And you tell yourself, okay, I never took a picture before, but I'm gonna start taking photographs. I never wrote short stories, but I'm gonna start doing that. And I'm not gonna worry about whether it's good or bad, because so many ideas we get, we think of them, oh, this is a great idea, and then we start thinking about the problems or how hard it would be, and kind of, it just dies. So with this type of thinking, you just do it, and you don't worry. The first thing you don't worry about is how good it's been. You just do it, and you start creating and creating. And anyway, it led me to meeting this man named Santi Runyon, who was a mouthpiece maker. And I knew him because when I was a kid, I used one of his mouthpieces on baritone sax. He was my teacher's teacher. And I met him, and he was so cool. I wrote him a letter and said, hey, I'd like to come study with you. But I didn't really want to study. I just wanted to hang out with him. Santi Runyon had his own mouthpiece company, and in the Prohibition area, he actually played in Al Capone's speakeasies. It's amazing. He remembered every person he ever met. And he was a great musician, flute, clarinet, saxophone, and he had this mouthpiece company for a long time. So I wrote him and said, can I come study with you? He said, I don't really teach anymore, but why don't you come and play my 93rd birthday party? And so I'm giving you the whole story here. So I said, okay. And because I was on this creative wave, I didn't think about, well, I can't afford that. I was a working musician in New York City. And I said, okay, I'll come. I didn't think he was going to make the mouthpiece playable. I mean, for me. Oh, no. I just wanted to, go to his birthday party and hang out with him. So while I was there, I picked a mouthpiece in his factory to be polite, and I played it at his party. And his party was a big deal. There were some famous players and stuff. And I went back to New York, and 3 months later, I called him and said, I can't play this mouthpiece anymore because it's not free-blowing enough. It doesn't have enough bottom in the sound. And he said, okay, come back and I'll reface it for you, customize it. And when he did that, I came back. And I didn't think I would get a mouthpiece out of it, but I just wanted to hang with him again. He taught Charlie Parker lessons. He's got a million stories. So I went down, he customized it, faced it, and he handed it back to me, and I said, oh my God, I love it, I can't believe it. And he said, okay, Jody, we can make that for you and call it Jody Jazz. And I thought to myself, what a stupid name. But I didn't say that, of course. I said, thank you. And at first I just thought I would sell some to students. but I started, seeing what he was doing, and to make that mouthpiece, I had to end up going. He was in Louisiana, and I had to go to his factory about 7 times a year to start try and get his crew to make what he did by hand, and it was very difficult, and they weren't that consistent. But I saw the possibility of this as a business. At first, I just thought I'd sell a few to students, and because I was on this creative way, I wasn't afraid to start this business, and I took all the pictures myself. I wrote all the copy of the web. I studied, this was in the year 2000, so all the mouthpiece companies were really asleep at the wheel as far as the internet was concerned. And I studied search engine optimization, and I wrote every page so it would get the top status. And I got the top status from the beginning. And so I just went for it. I started traveling right away. My first trip in Europe, I got 2 good accounts. Door to door with these mouthpieces. I'd get laughed out of some places. And, but I just persisted. And that's how I got into it. Along the way, I was driven crazy because my name was on a mouthpiece, and they would make the mouthpieces for me, and they would come, and they wouldn't be consistent. And so I learned how to fix them in my little apartment. I lived in the Bronx in a studio apartment, and word got out about this stuff, and it started growing. And so that was 2000, and by about 2005, I had a real live-work loft in Manhattan, my dream apartment. The elevator went up into the apartment, and big, I had a giant slate bar in there, and I had a whisper room, which is a silent practice room, so people would come, and I had enough traffic with the great players in New York. It was paying my rent, and then I went down to Savannah, Georgia in 2008 to take care of my mom. My brother lived there. I was never leaving New York. I had been there since 1985. I was never leaving New York. I had my dream apartment. I had made enough money with Jody Jazz. I didn't have to play weddings anymore. I wasn't teaching. I was just doing my thing. So I went to Savannah, Georgia, and I was able to build my factory. And that's when my mouthpiece company really started to get serious, because I was finally able to make the quality that I wanted. So that's the long story. And now we can start. All right, I got to go water here. Anytime, I'm going to try and make this short. I could go on forever with this. And I usually always teach about playing, but I'm keeping it to the mouthpieces tonight. That's how they build it. But if you want any playing things, please ask me. Okay. So I told you we started in 2000 in New York. So if you're not playing the right mouthpiece for you, you almost might as well be playing a shoe in the thing, because sometimes you could be in concert band and your mouthpiece is too loud, or you can be in jazz band and your mouthpiece is not loud enough. And this was a fun photo shoot. They all got free mouthpieces, and the band director got a set, but I had to do some motivational acting with them. I really had to work with her. She was so shy. And then the guy with the shoe, I said, don't put that shoe in your mouth. It was my son's shoe, and I had drilled a hole in the back of it. I didn't even clean it. It had dirt on it. And the kid next to him with the puffed cheeks, I didn't know we were going to have so many sax players, so I looked around the band room, and I got a French horn mouthpiece. So, but I made an ad about that, and it says, if you're not getting what you want from your jazz band sax section, maybe it's the mouthpiece. Not all mouthpieces are created equal. All right. So we can talk about mouthpieces. We'll talk about a few of the differences, okay? And the parts. The table is a real important part, because it's got to be real flat. We got to start with that flat table so the reed can sit there, and then you have the rails, the side rails, and they curve down, making that facing curve. And they need to curve kind of exactly at the same time, because there's 2 rails, and with this manufacturing that was happening at the Runyon plant, those were molded parts. I can go into it, but there's just so many things that can go wrong. And the precision that we need to get this perfect mouthpiece playing just the way we want is incredible. In Savannah, Georgia, where our factory is, their Gulfstream is their headquarters, the private jets, and their engineers have been in our place, and they said, your tolerances are tighter than ours. So on aerospace, we're trying to be tighter than that. And I can feel it, you can feel it. Santee Runyon made this facing curve start further away from the tip, and that opened up the bottom, and then he took a little material out here near the tip rail. He made the tip rail thinner, and he took out a little bit out here, and it just opened it up unbelievably. So that was the revelation for me. I had no idea that could be done to a mouthpiece. So we've got a table, we've got side rails that curve and to the tip rail. A mouthpiece, for it to work properly, needs to be made so that we can get this. Okay, so we suck all the air out of it and it creates a vacuum. That's a beautiful, happy thing to me. So let's see what else we got. What makes the mouthpiece louder or softer really is this part, what we call a chamber. It's how high this floor is to the reed. The higher it is, closer to the reed, the louder it is. The bigger space, the softer it is. Like a hose that has the water coming out, a big opening, the water goes like this. And when we make that aperture smaller with our thumb, it goes fast and far. That's the louder sound. The bore is essentially, it has to go to the neck. It can affect what you do in the bore, but the further away you get the tip of a mouthpiece, the less it affects it. Just like the further away you get from the mouth, it affects it less. If you like a saxophone a lot, the reason is because it's got a good neck. The saxophone body makes a lot of difference, but if you try 5 of the same horn, same exact model, you're going to find one that you like the best. And I'll pretty much guarantee if you take that neck and put it on another one, you're going to like that one the best. So mouthpiece is first. The most difference that you can have in the sound and feel of a horn is the mouthpiece. Second is the reed, and we'll talk about them later. Third really is the neck. So the further you get down from the mouthpiece, the less difference it makes. Super important, this tip rail, how thin it is. The thinner it is, the mouthpiece, the sound starts instantly. It starts right away. There are players who like a lot of resistance, and we make the tip real thick, and then you can kind of push. It's like starting all of this that I'm talking about, a lot of it is efficiency of energy transfer. So in a 10-speed bike, a great bike, and it's in second gear, it's quite easy to start. Most cyclists don't start in 8th gear, right? So a mouthpiece that's doesn't have a great curve, is not well made, is like starting in 5th, 7th, 8th gear. You got to push really a lot against it. So what I'm always trying for, and all the great jazz mouthpieces that I tried were super efficient, super free-blowing, we call it. So the other thing to know about this, what we call the number on the side of the mouthpiece, a 6, 7, or 8 or something, refers to the tip opening, which is a distance from the mouthpiece and the reed. So I think I want to show you the difference in 2 mouthpieces. So on the left is my Super Jet, and on the right is, I was more organized, but I had all these trials, and now, okay. So this is my custom dark. It's one of our darkest mouthpieces. So you see this big open space there. We're looking from this part of the mouthpiece. And in here, that's all material. That's so high. So which one is the brighter one, the left or the right? The left, correct, because it's got that small chamber. Okay, so I'm going to try and play more or less just a mezzo forte volume. I'll try and play the same on both. Our loudest, brightest mouthpiece. Until January, we're going to release a brighter, louder, very special mouthpiece. That's kind of the wrong read here. Okay. And every mouthpiece really, the nuances, they take different reeds. Because this is a shorter facing curve. That means the curve starts closer to the tip. And it brings out the highs a little more. Custom dark here. I had 20 minutes to my clinic just wetting reeds. Because they warp when they dry out. And nobody play a warped reed. It happened to me. Don't play a warped reed. When you bring it out and it goes like this, you know, you look at it, straighten it like this. Put it on the mouthpiece and go like this. Rub it. Can you guys see that? So I'm trying to straighten it out. When you first bring it out and it warps, it's just not going to play good until it straightens out. And it's no fun. Okay, so you forgot the sound of the jet, super jet. And that's a softer reed that I would really use with this, because I want to get that dark sound. And I'll just play that super jet for 1 second. So this is kind of the difference that you can have in a mouthpiece. And every mouthpiece probably goes to a different place on the cork. And that reed is harder than I want on this. But that's a pretty big difference, right? Okay. So kind of two different styles. You'd say, oh, this one is maybe a guy that plays in a small jazz combo and it's older style. You want that beautiful sound. This one, maybe you're playing in a Latin band or a rock band or something. You really need to cut. And it's miserable when you're a wind instrument player and all the electronic instruments are blasting through their big amps and the monitors have everything except you in there. And don't get me started about that. So when you have a mouthpiece that's super powerful, you're not worried. You can cut and you can hear yourself, you're happy. So just a little more, what the beak also makes a difference, like how thick I make that beak. If I make it too thick, the mouthpiece is kind of dead. And if I make it too thin, it sounds almost plasticky. So like everything matters in the mouthpiece. Everything is about vibration, aerodynamics. But that facing curve is what separates the great pieces from the mediocre or terrible. One thing I try and get across to all amateurs is that if you're beginning or something, or you're a young student and you're not so sure, we want to have a professional play every piece of your equipment. We want to have the band directors make sure that, because the mouthpiece that comes in the case often doesn't work. It's made very cheaply and it might not seal, and then you can't get your low notes no matter what you do. When I was 17, I played in a big band with all men, professionals in their 40s, 50s, and we played for people like Mel Torme and famous people that would come through Tampa, Florida. And I'd have to, you'd recite read in the rehearsal, play the gig at night. And I'd have to play these low notes on baritone sax, really softly sometimes, and I would have trouble with it. And I almost got fired. Years later, I was in my loft in New York, and I found my shoebox of old mouthpieces. And that's a mouthpiece that I had bought at the store, metal mouthpiece, and it was terrible. And it sabotaged me, and I had no idea. It was absolutely criminal. And there's still a lot of stuff like that out. So, just more parts. Now, this is important, and people don't think about it. We say, why do you like a 5, a 6, or 7? That's a bigger tip opening. Well, actually, when I make the 5, 6, or 7, usually the bigger it is, I start further away from the tip. And so where you put your mouth, where you put those teeth trying to get to the reed, is really important with that facing curve. So how much mouthpiece you take might work better with a 5, a 6, or a 7. If you take more, the bigger tip is going to work. We'll talk more about like which tip you should play. If you play 4 hours or less, you've got to try a smaller tip. And if you play 4 to 8 hours, you can probably play our most popular. And more than that, you could play any tip. It's just what feels best to you. But I used to think it was the tip opening that you would choose why you like the mouthpiece. Now I think more importantly it's how much mouthpiece you take and where the facing curve is. So reasons why you wouldn't like a mouthpiece, it might not have that seal. It might be poorly made. You might have the wrong reed for the mouthpiece. So if you're playing a classical mouthpiece with a Van Doren 3 blue box and you come to a jazz mouthpiece, your classical mouthpiece is a 3 or 4 tip opening, and the jazz mouthpiece is probably starting at 5. It could go 6, 7, and so the reed has to travel further. So to make the same blowing feel, you need a softer reed, and to make that buzzier jazz feel, you need even softer. So you might have the wrong reed. Don't assume when you try a mouthpiece and you don't like it right away that it's the mouthpiece. If you have the time, you want to optimize the mouthpiece. If you kind of like it, optimize it with the best reed. The mouthpiece might be too open or too closed, or too bright or too dark, or that facing curve doesn't match you, or the chamber doesn't feel right for you. It feels, because there's different shapes inside there too. We're all different, and that's why, I have all these mouthpieces. I'm pretty sure by this point, with everything I have, I can almost always get a mouthpiece that somebody loves. Let's see. Reasons why you don't like. I got out of it. Let's see. How to try mouthpieces. Some people come to the factory and I have a tray of 6 mouthpieces. I'll have something like this for them. And I'll start on the first mouthpiece and they'll blow for 45 minutes. They're like, wow, this is great. And I'm thinking, hey, you're going to run out of time because there's a lot there. So I like to encourage you, I'm not trying to rush you. I want you to get enough time to try everything, because the next one might be better than the one after that. So play for a minute or so and then go to the next and try and rule stuff out. Play a lot of mouthpieces if you can. I bought a couple of Steinways in my life, pianos, and I listened to hundreds of pianos. So by the time I knew what I was looking for, I knew what sound was right for me. So if you find the one you like, and you can try a couple different tip openings. Depending on the brand's consistency, you want to try more than one of the exact same model. Now, we sell all over the world, and China has been recently our biggest market, but because of tariffs now, China is suffering because they have to pay more to get our mouthpieces. But I was in a store in Japan, and the stores in Japan, they're quite amazing. They have a drawer, these thin drawers, and for example, if you play clarinet, B45 clarinet mouthpieces, 5RV, each is a drawer of 20 mouthpieces, opened out of the box, and you try each one. Selmer C-Star, alto mouthpiece, all the mouthpieces are like that. And they let the customer try all of them and pick the one they want. And I saw the Jody Jazz mouthpieces up on the shelf. And I said, is there a Jody Jazz drawer? And they said, no need. The customer trusts Jody Jazz. They trust our consistency. And I'll show you about that later. But it's been my obsession. Besides trying to design great things, consistency. Because these guys that were making me mouthpieces at first, I'd say, how can you do this? This one plays resistant, this one's free blowing, this one's this. They said, well, everybody likes something different, so they can come in and try the one they want. So that's a way to think, but of the same model. I think the same model should be as good as the best one we ever made. So that's my point of view on it. When you find the one you love, every once in a while, I see this all the time. Somebody loves a mouthpiece and they get it, and I'm so happy because I know they should have it. Every once in a while, somebody finds one they love and I know it's right for them and they don't get it. And I know that's going to be a regret. So this is a story that works really well in China because it's like I'm playing for these rich business people, and their hobby is saxophone. And when I tell them this is the best mouthpiece, they line up and they pay whatever it is. But what I'm trying to say is 4 years ago, I finally started my first hobby of golf, and I got way into it. My first set of clubs, I didn't know, they would cost me, the whole set cost me $80. But I didn't know they weren't good. But after 6 months, and I was practicing pretty diligently, I went to the store and they have the screen where you can shoot against and got fitted for clubs. And the ones that really worked for me, that happened to be probably the most expensive clubs. But I could see on the screen, I think hit 40, 50 yards further, straighter, everything. And I said, okay, let's get that. And then I never worried about it again. I don't ever blame my equipment in golf. If I mess up, it's me. So it made such a difference for me immediately, because these things, what I had were these weird hybrid clubs, and the guy was looking at them like, okay. So it was a good move for me. Just get something good and then forget about it. I talked about the reeds. It's very important to have brand name reeds like these, like the things that they sell here, because I've been in band rooms. You know, this week I was going to several bands, and last week I was in Oklahoma. I love going to the band rooms. I try to help people with their sound. Sometimes I can't help somebody, and then I say, let me see your mouthpiece, the reed. I saw this flying goose reed. My mom got it on Amazon, and there are a bunch of brands of Chinese reeds that are really poor quality. And so I gave the kid one of my reeds. I used Select Jazz D'Addario. I gave him one. Boom. Perfect. He's fixed. Another time I might try and I can't get a seal out of the mouthpiece. I give him a mouthpiece. Boom, they're fixed. But the reed is, like I say, 1-2 punch. Mouthpiece and reed are super equally important. So find the right strength. Use a good brand. I believe in all these reeds, and I am a D'Addario artist. I like those Select Jazz because they come in 3rd strength. Mostly what you like about a reed is the right strength. That's what we're trying to get. All right. So we're in Savannah, Georgia. We moved there in 2008, and now we have 23 employees. We work a 4-day work week. We have a 401k matching 4%. We have health insurance that we pay. I have people, a lot of those people have been with me 12 to 15 years. And really proud of my crew. Everybody who comes through the factory says, you got such a good vibe in here. Everybody's proud of what they do. When I show you how tough this is, you'll see what it is. They get this skilled thing, and they know what these mouthpieces mean to people, because we have people come through the factory all the time, and we have artists come and they hear them play. So the way we do this is 3D modeling, and CNC means a computer numerical controlled lathe or a mill. A lathe turns the part and a mill drills down, and we have 5-axis mill, which means the part can be held like the mouthpiece can be held like this, and it can move all kind of different ways, while the drill bit can come down this way and this way. So we can make all kind of complex things. Very complex programming. So on the left is a molded mouthpiece. It came out of the mold like that. On the right is what comes off of our machine before we do our handwork. This plays quite good already. This doesn't play at all. And it has to have so many things. They don't have CNC machines. They have what we call analog lathe. And they're trying to do the work. If I showed you how many operations, you wouldn't believe it. And then the filing inside, you got to take out a lot. And each tip opening you have to take out that different, because one mold for one model, and then you make all the different tip openings. It's just a lot. My mouthpieces, for each tip opening, I adjust the floor so the brightness of the mouthpiece is the same. When you get a bigger tip opening mouthpiece, essentially you have a bigger chamber in there. So it gets darker and darker the bigger you get. So to have the same sound from a 7-star to 5-star, I have to adjust that. And that's what we do in our mouthpieces. So that's before we work on it. Like I say, it plays already, but to get it to sing, we're gonna sand a lot inside and outside. We're gonna take a file and make this beautiful tip rail. That's part of the most important part. We have the best finish. I just showed a gentleman the finish on our mouthpieces compared to, for example, 3D printed mouthpieces. I see a pink one out there somewhere. But if you feel this is like glass. And that's our finish on the machine. And I had to figure out special tool. It's a top secret. And because it really is, because there's nobody who knows how to machine hard rubber. And we get the best finish in the business. The smoother it is, the better that seal can be, the better this reed can play. So we start with bar stock. This is brass. We have bars of rubber. We take that, we put it in a lathe. It kind of comes out to this, which is what we call the blank. And it doesn't have anything but the basic shape and the bore. And then off the machine, we measure every single piece that comes off the machine. No machine shop does that. But to keep the tolerances I want, so he's just checking the bore there with that crazy instrument. I'm checking the facing curve here, that it's straight. And we're checking the tip opening here. But we have about 7 measurements we do during the whole thing. And this is what that filing looks like. First, we usually use the file, and then we come back underneath with that cardboard, there's sandpaper. And we use a couple grits of sandpaper. And when you look at these, every one of them has this beautiful symmetrical tip rail, mostly 25 thousandths of an inch. So take an inch and get 25 parts of that, and that's what the thickness we're going through for our jazz mouthpieces. And that's done by hand. Very difficult. We play test every single mouthpiece, and Danielle is a lot faster than me. So this is Jay Metcalf of Better Sax, and we make all of his mouthpieces except his new low-cost student mouthpieces. We don't make those. But he came down, he was just here last month. We made him a new mouthpiece. So he's been to our factory a few times. He lives in France, actually. He lives in Nice, France, and he makes money with his business. And
did you know that the mouthpiece has a greater impact on the sound that comes out than the instrument itself? Crafting high-quality saxophone mouthpieces is a delicate mixture of precision science and acoustic art. And at the Jody Jazz factory in Savannah, Georgia, they're making some of the world's finest mouthpieces using cutting-edge technology combined with musical expertise.
So he can make the best video, much better than anything I could do. If you're interested in how it's made, that video is like 8-9 minutes long, but if you scan that, you can find the video. It's a really good video of our factory process. I was telling you about the TED Talk before, so just type in my name. It's 12 minutes. I think it's inspirational. It's not just about mouthpieces and stuff. So here is all our mouthpieces, from bright to dark. And I'm going to start just giving you a real brief overview of them. Our most popular mouthpiece is this one, the HR Star. I would say it's a very versatile, all-around mouthpiece. And they're in a lot of bands around here. Now, some people like more than that. Some people, everybody produces kind of a sound that has its own characteristics. Some people are softer, like some people are softer spoken, and some people have a big voice or a lot of projection, different ways. And it's the same thing when you're playing a mouthpiece. Let me see. I think I'm mixed up here. What did I just play? Oh, sorry. That was the custom dark. I thought it was so weird.
That sounded a little darker.
Yeah. I was like, this is weird. Okay. This is the HR Star. It's really hard playing here with the reeds because this is totally warped. But that's more or less it. It's a reed. It's driving me nuts. It can still do a lot. And if you wanted brighter, oh, by the way, on the website we have these fact sheets. It's a button and you just hit the fact sheet. It tells you a lot of the features of the mouthpiece. If you wanted brighter, you would go to the Jet, and the same price. Those are both $219 on alto. And essentially, tenor is $229, which is a really bargain because we pay more for the material, and the machine time takes a little longer because it's bigger. The machines, we have 5 CNC machines, and they're quite expensive. Jet. Can be louder, but it's still not too loud. Now, Dr. Rousseau, Saturday at the other store, Ryan Richmond from Eastman Saxophone is going to be there with a whole kind of an antique saxophone collection. And Dr. Rousseau is the man who made the Yamaha 62. He was a consultant and he was flying over to Japan. And they have actually, Ryan's going to have the 02 serial number of the 62. He has Dr. Rousseau's saxophone. And he made mouthpieces, and he was very well known. He's one of the greatest classical players ever. And his mouthpieces were very well respected. He called me and said he wanted to sell. And I said, yes. The thing was that the quality had really gone down over the years. And they were made in a factory that was molded, and the reputation had gone down. But I wanted to buy it and do it, and at first I worked with the factory to get them better, and we did. But ultimately we took them all in my house. I CAT scanned the best ones of all, and then worked from that to make a model, and worked really hard. So he had a jazz model called, most of them are classical, but his jazz model is called the JDX. And the baritone had this cool feature that it has kind of this V chamber inside. And the alto and tenor JDX were totally different. So I designed the alto and the tenor to be the same. So they're really good. So when you try our Jody Jazz HR Star and Jet, I put this right in there with that. It's almost in between in brightness and darkness. And truthfully, because it's $165, when I first made it, the first alto, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, maybe this is going to be a Jody killer. It's so good. But then I just decided, hey, let it do what it's going to do. And so I always think this is very much worth a try. This thing is a very straight ahead mouthpiece with a good concentration core sound. Really worth trying. And I have that in soprano. They didn't have a soprano at all. I made a soprano one too. So in our classical one, the R series, I think is used to be quite popular in bands. It got off the tracks and it wasn't playing well. But when I got it, I redesigned it. It's really good. Dr. Rousseau had some great designs. And that's really all his stuff here, except with the tweaks that I've made. So This is probably the most extraordinary mouthpiece we have, and one of the most, it's quite famous in the world. We've sold hundreds and hundreds in China. I was trying to get a mouthpiece that had a lot of body, but was still bright enough that you could play on live gigs. Normally when you get it bright, you lose broadness and body and warmth. And I was reading the Da Vinci Code, and I stumbled across the golden mean proportions. And when I found out that the Stradivarius violin had those proportions, I thought, what if I try this on a mouthpiece? And the dolphin influenced it. I tried to do every proportion on this mouthpiece is the golden mean. And it's how I came up with that secondary window, this thing. And this is what allowed me to have kind of a high floor to give me volume, and it opened it up under the reed and it gave me back that bigness. You guys messed up my whole system trying all these mouthpieces. So let me try and figure this out. I'm just joking about that. Okay. Okay, that's the JC. Maybe here it is. Yeah. Okay. I'm going for the 7 dB. I don't see it. Okay. Anybody have a 7 dB in their pocket? No. Okay, this is the dB, more or less. With this warped reed, I can't do it. What time is it? Only 6:10? I'm doing great, man. I usually go on way too long. I know it's a school night and everything. I want to get everybody a chance to try stuff. We're in good shape. You have to try this to understand. A mouthpiece is half feel and half sound. And when you feel this ease, it's like you're driving a Rolls Royce, but it has this really fast Lamborghini engine. And that's what this is like for me. I can get more out of it. And it's I'm going to see the Soundhouse band tomorrow night. The what do you call yourselves? Crescent Super Band. That's the top band, and they've been playing DVs. They're Jody Jazz artists, and they've been playing DVs for many years. And Caleb, their leader, I think he's on a Superjet now, which is the little brighter one. But it's just an extraordinary mouthpiece, and you got to try it to believe it. So I have a dark one called the DV New York. It's quite dark. People think metal is always going to be bright, but I've designed it. It can be dark. Metal can be dark. The material makes about 5%, 10% of the most difference in the sound, but really the construction is what changes the sound. So last year it was this year it's our 25th anniversary, and I was going to release a 25th year anniversary mouthpiece, and I was thinking, well, I've been tweaking my DV all these years and making it a little darker and doing little things to it. And here it is. I'll do that for a 25th anniversary, but I started just loving it so much. I said, let me just make it a regular model. And so this is, I don't even know if you're going to hear much difference, but I did some different things inside, and most players say, oh, this feels more like a hard rubber mouthpiece. And I don't think you can hear much, but I don't even hear that much from here, but I feel more. But it's like, hey, you tried both. Did you feel a darkness?
I did.
Yeah.
I felt a very big difference. I very much prefer
The JC? What would JC play? That was like John Coltrane. No. That stands for Jody Custom. But It was because every once in a while, I felt a little too bright, and the New York was too dark. I played the New York when I was in New York, actually, because you play in bands and there's a little more dynamics. When I got to Savannah, everything was so loud, so I went back to the DV. But this one for me is perfect now. So it's a variation on that. For like 20 years, we had the DV and no hard rubber. We finally put a version in hard rubber. The difference is partly the shape in your mouth. So if you're used to rubber, it's a certain shape, and when you play metal, it's smaller in your mouth, and there's you have to get used to that. So let me play you that mouthpiece. I really think this is an amazing mouthpiece. It's doing very well for us. If you play the hard rubber, it's great. It's really great. But if you play this, you'd say, "Oh, I'll have that." But it's more money. So when we put a heavy brass ring on the end, it gives the mouthpiece a little body. This curve and this secondary window are kind of what's making this mouthpiece super special. So you heard the Super Jet. I was playing the wrong reed. Let me play it again because that didn't work. It's an amazing mouthpiece too, and especially when you need a lot of cut. And it depends. Two people can play the same mouthpiece, and one can sound dark on it, and one can sound totally different. So don't just think because somebody sounds some way that you might sound the same. You got to try it for yourself. It's bright and loud, but it can be really fun when you need it. The dark mouthpieces, you heard the custom dark a minute ago, and then I'll play real quick that DV New York. It's got a real deep floor. And I don't know which reed to play. I'll tell you, I do like the Leger synthetics. And I like the French cut the most. Oh, look, I see this reed. Why it's so weird. It's got bark coming all the way up the side almost. It was miscut. And so we can take sandpaper or a knife and take that down. I'm going to show you something about a reed. Because it's vibrating on two sides. And it might be stuffy, but it might only be one side. So let me see. Probably why I hated this reed. Now, what we want to do when we're trying to read and it's not playing right, we want to try one side at a time so we can turn the mouthpiece, and so that our lip, like this lip, is really on this side and it's deadening it completely. I'll try a C sharp so I don't have to worry about anything but this. I'm trying to make sure that nothing is vibrating here and everything is vibrating there. Turn it the other way. What I can feel is that even though it looks whacked, this side with the bark is not playing that much harder. I was surprised. But you can do that and you find out which side is dead, and then you can sand it a little bit. And I like to sand, so imagine the reed is like this, okay? I like to sand at these areas at the tip, not in the heart, and the heart is like this, so I like to sand here and here. And that's where you get the most bang for your buck. And when I say sand, I want to use 600 at the most paper. It could be 600, 800 or something, soft, just a little, being careful not to go break the tip or anything. But that's where I get the most, right up here and right up here. And if it's too soft, there's not that much you do. But I'll show you another thing with reeds. You know, when I get an artist in my factory, a lot of times we talk so much about reeds, because even great famous artists, mostly they get free reeds, so they don't think about this stuff. I get free reeds too, but listen to this sound, okay? I'm going to put the reed right where it should be, right and matching. Okay, now tell me. What did I do? Yeah, I put the reed way up, actually way past it. If you put the reed past the mouthpiece, it'll play harder and drier. And even with the mouthpiece. And lower. You can only go so much lower, but a little buzzier. So you can really affect everything just by that reed placement. It's super important. When you're trying mouthpiece, make sure the reed is placed correctly every time. Because that I'll be listening to people that say, hey, check the reed. I can just hear it. Check the reed placement. And last, but definitely not least, is this power ring that I keep using. It is so cool. Let me see if we'll hear a difference. Where'd my reed go? Let's see. There's sizes of these for other mouthpieces, other brands. Heaven forbid you're playing another brand mouthpiece, but if you are, we may have a power ring for it. The thing about the power ring, it's heavy brass, and mass on a horn can actually give it more body. Heavy brass, inside it kind of goes away from the reed, it's concave, and that allows it to touch the reed in 4 points and the mouthpiece on 2. So a lot of people feel that this what's it called? Rovner can dampen the sound a little bit, but I think it's a very good ligature. Okay, and when you put this thing on, you hold your reed in place, you bring it down, still holding the reed. Now I'm holding the reed at top, and I'm pulling down pretty firmly. I didn't feel as much as I usually feel. I don't know, did you hear much? Or you heard something? Yeah, there is something, and a lot of times it's like guys go, whoa, that's a game changer. I probably do feel a freer thing too, but it's worth a try. It's not as important as the mouthpiece and the reed. Get that right, and then if you're in the mood, try ligatures. It can be quite a big deal, but the AS1 goes for most hard rubber alto mouthpieces. There's a chart on our website that'll tell you what fits. I get a little chance to talk about Shedville Mouthpieces. The young man tried some clarinet. It's an amazing company. I only had Jody Jazz, and I wanted to make classical mouthpieces. And Jody Jazz didn't seem like a very good name for classical mouthpieces. And then this man offered me this company. Shedville started in the 20s in France. They're famous clarinet mouthpieces, and we've been working really hard. We have some collaborations with some mouthpiece makers that we're making some amazing stuff. This is a really cool barrel that I made, by the way. Very cool. So I think that's it. I want to invite you to come to Savannah and visit us. We have a cool showroom. Now I have a golf simulator in there. On the stage is extended, and I have a screen back there, and it's a really good golf simulator. And I got rid of the pool table, which was, but that's it. And please ask questions now, okay? I'm going to wait here until we get a question. Yes.
Besides your custom DV, do you have a favorite mouthpiece?
Well, this hand-hammered, I didn't even talk about it. It's the world's only hand-hammered mouthpiece. We have patent pending on it. It's amazing. Tenor. And listen, it's like when I make a mouthpiece, it takes me maybe 9 months or so, and it's like having a child. And I have to fall in love with it because I have to also fall in love with every tip opening. I have to learn how to play a 3 and a 10, all different in between. And so I get into the zone. I always have a bunch of mouthpieces in that range, other brands, because I want to make sure I'm contributing something different. I want to make sure I beat what I'm trying to do. And so they're all my children, and they're all my favorites at one time or another. But I love, of course, the DV, like you said, the DVJC. I really love that DVHR. It's a bad boy. I love that hand-hammered tenor now. It's so special. Last week, 2 guys fell in love with it in Oklahoma, and they just had to have it. It's expensive, but what else? Lately, I've also been playing an 11 HR Star with a baritone sax reed, and it's an incredible sound. Big open mouthpiece, but on soprano, the custom dark is probably my favorite. It's really warm and dark on soprano, because soprano, each one higher gets brighter. So, but we all need different things. But all my pop guys like Kirk Whalum and there's a bunch of famous guys who went to that. You would think they'd be on brighter soprano, but they went to that dark soprano. So, yeah, it's 25 years. It's been really a lot of fun. All I do now is basically R&D. I have my partner is my engineer, and we work together, and that's been part of the secret to our success. Once I finally got an engineer that could understand me, and we wail through this stuff. He has ideas, I have ideas. Most engineers that I ever had couldn't understand me, and so we have a really great team. My crew at Jody Jazz, I'm so proud of them, and so there were a bunch of other questions. Go ahead. Yes.
What are the main differences, benefits, or drawbacks between a metal mouthpiece and a rubber mouthpiece?
In a metal, we can make the rails, we can make it thinner and finer, like we can make thin rails. Thin rails probably equate to quicker response, because when the mouthpiece stops like that and they get that vacuum, it pops back. And I think on the DV, for example, it pops back quicker. Very famous saxophonist named Ornette Coleman. He's like the father of modern jazz. He played them, and he says, and he had a funny way of speaking, but he said, I think I can play faster now. He was amazing. So that's one of them. Maybe the metal is more durable, because over time, like I get my guys coming in, I can see that their facing has been worn down by the reed. A person that really plays a lot, 8 hours a day for years, it'll wear it down. But it wears it down organically. It still plays, but sometimes it's not like it's tight, like your steering has a little play in it. So over many years, they'll come back and we'll tighten it up. So it's also just a feel. Some people prefer that metal. Maybe metal is a little silkier sounding, like it's a personal preference. And what else?
Do you ever take commissions from other artists?
What do you mean
To
commissions?
make like custom mouthpieces for that person?
Oh, no. Pharoah Sanders asked me to do it. Pharoah Sanders played with Coltrane, one of the best sounds on earth. And he inspired this mouthpiece, the Giant, that I have, that's made out of hard anodized aluminum. It's a very special mouthpiece. Because he gave me an aluminum mouthpiece. He said, Coltrane gave me this. Can you make 2 of those and no more? And even for him, I can't do it. It's so expensive for me to take the time to make a mouthpiece. If you wanted a mouthpiece for yourself, and I knew I wasn't going to sell a bunch of them, it's like, I charge you $25,000 and I wouldn't be happy. Really. Because like with Jay Metcalf, I know he's got a sales channel. He's going to sell them. So we did that one. If I know I can sell a mouthpiece. But I have such a long runway of my stuff. And so Randall Clark. Does anybody know that name? Okay. He's one of the best players in the world, and he's has a bunch of my mouthpieces. He's just trying to dial something in. He's one of the only people I've kind of messed stuff with. So he loves the DV and he loves the Superjet, and there's just something. So I gave him a new prototype yesterday to try. I wish I could play the video. He's burning on it. But I've tweaked stuff for him because he's such a fine player. He's got a fine palate. Like I understand him, and if he really likes it, you know, it's because I play, so I kind of know. And he's telling me the problems he has on the DV. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, and I deal with that. He's having a certain problem with a certain high note, a very high altissimo, where we have to adjust, and he doesn't want to adjust. But the mouthpiece that he can do that with, that not adjust, everything else is terrible. It doesn't blow nice, and so I'm kind of doing something like that, not making him a mouthpiece, but I'm trying to dial it in for him. But no, probably not. It would have to be somebody who I knew we're going to sell that model, and we'd sell a lot. And signature mouthpieces don't necessarily sell. So I got a payroll, you know. I got payroll and bills. So it's a business. I mean, I'm an artist, but I somehow hire people who know how to run the business, really. I have a crew. So I don't have to do a lot of that stuff. I do this, and I do that designing. And that's what I love to do. So, yeah.
What's your most expensive mouthpiece?
It's right there, the hand hammered. When we released it for our 20th anniversary, maybe, or no, I don't know. We released it in a limited 300 in rose gold. It was $1,000. And we sold that out right away. And then we made it in regular gold plating, $900. If I told you all that's involved in it, you'd say, okay, I get it.
That's crazy.
The guy who was the hand-hammered Zildjian cymbal guy, he's the guy who does it. And he hand-hammers the blank, and then we cut it and everything, do our stuff. It's the whole story. Yeah?
And you have available mouthpieces available for purchase tonight?
We do.
Talk about?
The store has their stock, and I have a larger stock in case they don't have it.
Okay.
And they're having a sale. And by the way, if you buy, I have some T-shirts. So if you buy a mouthpiece, come and get a T-shirt. They're pretty cool. They're real soft and nice and cool design. You look like Batman. And I have Rousseau ones and Chevrolet ones also. Okay? Anybody else? Yeah.
Pros and cons using softer and harder reeds.
Softer reed lets you get your low notes real easy, real like you can play like that subtone. But if you had a too hard a reed, you couldn't do that subtoning. Harder reed sounds better up top. Not too hard, but the harder. The softer reed sounds weak and whiny on top. So you got to find that perfect ground. And finding the perfect reed is like finding the perfect mouthpiece. When you find the perfect reed, I get sad that day because I know it's going to die someday. It's so good. But getting a mouthpiece that feels just right is like that, having that great reed every day. And I've had that luxury for all these years. It's been amazing having my favorite mouthpiece all the time.
Yeah, Jody, so do you find that the ring ligature really makes a difference, and in general, finding the right ligature makes a difference?
Well, I really do, and I've tried some real expensive ligatures too, and usually I put my power ring on and I'm like, thank you. And guys come with that expensive ligature, like $250 and more, and they put this on. And same thing with my hard rubber tenor. They come with a $500 smaller brand boutique hard rubber tenor, and they play my HR Star, and they go, dope. So I really do find it a difference, and I love what it does for the sound and feel, and I love how to put it on, and the look, and everything. I love a lot about it. I was inspired by a ligature I played in Sweden at a store, and they had made it in their shop, and it was this brass ring. It wasn't the exact design, because mine is like this inside, but I was like, wow, that's cool, and I really like it.
Oh, just a follow-up question. Is that the ring, is it because it equally hits the corners of the
Kind of.
ring?
I think so.
Is that what it is?
The way it touches, it doesn't just slam on the reed. It touches on spots, and it touches on a couple spots on the top. Everything is about vibration. And I think it increases vibration for the reed. I have this new mouthpiece that's coming out. I'm going to have a patent on it. It increases the vibration of the reed a lot. Randall said, I can feel this thing vibrating in my mouth. And I said, is that a good thing? He said, yeah, it's a good thing. So it's going to be cool. Anything else? Yeah.
What Leger reed would you use for a 7 dB?
Leger reed, it's going to be a personal thing. 7 dB alto. I would. It depends. Like if I like a real buzzy sound, I'd use a 275. And the DV I would use a quarter step harder reed at least, because it's the freest blowing. So if you're playing an HR star, I'd probably be using a 2.5, maybe 2.75, DV7, 2.75, maybe 3. But it depends on you and the sound and feel you want. So somewhere around there. And I would try the French cut. I'm not as fond of the signature. And the signature, for example, if you use a power ring, the signatures are thinner. The power ring will go down too far. And they're slick on the back. And I've talked to them. I've consulted for them twice. I've been up there in Canada. And I wanted a little friction on the back of the reed. And I wanted them the same size as thickness as regular reeds. But this French cut I like a lot. Okay, yeah.
Stupid question. What if someone just wants a t-shirt?
I'll tell you what. You guys are in that Crescent City? Yeah? Are you in that?
Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow I'll talk to you guys and I'll get your sizes and I'll send them out. Okay. All right.
And then, you talked about golfing and stuff. How do you balance like being a musician and a businessman?
Well, no musicians have a hobby, and if you listen to TED Talk, you'll see that none of my friends in New York, we were all about 40, in our 40s, none of us were married. Music is that, consuming. For me, I had maybe some talent, but I had to practice. So I quit all my sports when I was 14. I loved baseball, soccer, tennis, quit to practice 4 hours a day. And so I had no hobby. So now I have this golf and I love it. Yeah, it's cutting into my music. It's cutting in. But really I haven't practiced like I need to or like I used to in long years. But so I do things like I do my scales in one breath. And I just go around the cycle, and I get them done, and I try and do efficient things so I don't have to do so much time. And when I practice sound now, most of what I practice is harmonics. So I'll play the fundamental, I'll play this F. Okay, if I play the low B flat, I have to adjust my embouchure and everything, not my embouchure, but really my tongue, but I'm doing a certain thing with my tongue and everything to get that F out with no register key and fingering low B flat. So now when I play my F, I'm going to do everything I just did, like mind over matter, like I'm playing the harmonic. That sounds like I'm flat. I think I am, because I'm playing the DV New York. Because the DV New York is so big inside. You heard how the regular note was flat? They should be pretty in tune, the harmonic and the. So now, F sharp. Closer. But I'll use harmonics to get my regular sound to be as full as the harmonic, if that makes sense. And especially high when we start to pinch and tighten up and everything. So if I want a high C, I'm fingering low C. Now I'll play like that. And I'll practice to try and get the regular one as full. They're not very good right now, but it's the quickest thing you can do for your sound. Is trying harmonic matching. Well, I want everybody to get a chance if they want to try. I still got a lot of cleanup to do, but come up. And there were a couple people that had just got a mouthpiece to try. You got the, what was it?
DVHR.
Okay. And somebody got a Superjet. You didn't get to try it, or you did? Okay. All right. And any questions, just let me know. Probably when you come up, I'll ask you, know exactly what reed you're playing, the brand and the strength, know what mouthpiece you're playing, and what you want to change about your current setup. And that'll give me a clue to what to give you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, really appreciate you coming, and I really appreciate Summerhays. Always buy your stuff here. Don't go online. This is like a church for me. This is very sacred. Okay?